Welcome back to Tell Me Big Time. So today I've got an unboxing for you. This is my first time purchasing from Invicta stores. They had a yellow tag event. As you all know, during my surgery, I was down for a couple weeks and I couldn't help myself. They had unbelievable prices. And I bought myself my first, I'm not even gonna say what it is until I do the video on it. But I guess I could tell you, my first Magnum. I've done a video on one before, but it was my buddies. And I got my first one in this box here. So we're gonna get into this. And before I get too far, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. And make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I've got a lot of great content, all about Invicta watches mainly. But I do watch repair on any watch I get, mainly sizing and battery replacement. But if you're interested in that, this is a channel for you. So let's get into this unboxing. All right, I believe you can see that just fine there. I've got my daughter in the background watching the video. You want to say hi, Naya? Say hi.
Hi.
Tell them subscribe to my daddy's channel.
Subscribe to my channel.
Yeah. Wow, this is well packed. A lot of foam.
What is it?
It's gonna be watches, but there's a lot of foam in here.
I know. I love them.
All right, so let me raise up this tripod a little bit. A little better angle there. So this is the first one, and you know I had to do it because I'm a Grand Arsenal collector, and our Grand Octane. So booyah. Blue dial Coalition Forces. I think the price on this was like $109. Man, how can you beat that? When I first started collecting Grand Arsenals, they were $300-400 minimum. $109. So that's the first one. And I'll do wrist shots. I'll do the sizing videos on both of these. All right. Part 2. Sizing my new Coalition Forces with that brilliant blue dial. So let's get to it. Now for the Magnum in part 1, I used the spring punch. I don't use these for the Arsenals. I use them for the folded pin or cutter pin style bracelets. But for these pin and sleeve or pin and collar, it doesn't work nearly as good. So this has got a funny wrap on it. It's like a sticker. That'll make it nice and easy to unwrap. And wrist check, I forgot in part 1 to show off, but Jason Taylor on the wrist, Grand Octane. Now, I know some of you that are probably wondering why I always show the unwrapping. I mentioned it in part 1, but I just think it's it's just cool to see it from scratch, you know, from brand new. I do what I'd like to see on YouTube if I was not making this video myself, and I'd like to see the whole steps, the whole process, just out of curiosity and just to experience it with you. So I do the same for you guys. Try to treat everybody the way I want to be treated, and then I try to make my channel of what I'd want to see. And that's why I don't just show you my new watch, but I actually take you through the whole process of watching me size it, unwrapping it, all that good stuff. Because this is a whole experience. You're not missing a beat. So I'm glad to see that this Grand Arsenal or Grand Octane doesn't have the double holes on the links. I got one or two of them that had the double holes and it was really awkward. Of course, this isn't screw down. None of the new ones are. So I've mentioned this a million times, I'm gonna mention it again. I always take out two links on the 12 o'clock side of the watch and one link on the 6 o'clock side, and that's for my group Big Ass Watches. When I post my watch pictures, I want you to see a lot more bracelet on the side that faces the photo opportunity side. So I only take one out of the 6 o'clock, two out of the 12 o'clock. So we'll take the two out of the 12 o'clock first. Always look for the arrows. You want the arrows pointing down and the way you're gonna knock the pin out. So here we go. And it doesn't matter which pin you choose as long as it's one that has the arrows on it. If they don't have an arrow on it, normally that means that it's glued and it's stationary and it's not meant to be sized from that point. So as long as you're hitting where the arrows are at, and that's where you're removing the pins, you're good to go. Now you see how many hammer hits that took? I mean, I'm not slamming it super hard, but that punch, I'd be there all day. The punch is great, but not for pin and collars, or at least not for me. Okay. There's a collar. You want to make sure I don't lose that. And now we're going to take out two more. Wow. I just barely got it to budge. I thought I already had it out. It happens. There we go. Okay. Okay. Two links removed. Collar, and don't forget the collar. Well, you'll know when you put the pin back in and just slides right through that you forgot a step. Having that collar in there keeps this all nice and tight. Without it, it'll just fall apart instantly. I mentioned this before, but it's no harm to say it again. Make sure you're always hitting with the soft plastic side of the hammer when you get close to that bracelet. Okay. 12 o'clock side is done. Now we're moved to the 6 o'clock side. I'm taking one out of here. Gotta love new watches. Like a little boy at Christmas every time. Especially for this price, I don't even feel guilty. A little bit. Seems like I hammered a little excessive. It's because I knocked 2 pins out. Make this simple. One pin out. Two pins out. Okay. That goes over there. Make sure my collar's in. Oh, I'm losing the collar. Voila, nice and sized. Before I put it on the wrist, I'm going to put the links back together, make sure the collar's in there. Get a pin. Like I said in part 1 of this part 2 series, I like to make sure that the links are always kept together and try to keep all pins. I like to do a lot of custom work on my watches too, and especially the Grand Octanes, which I collect. Having all the pieces to be able to change out bracelets and all that good stuff is important to me. So, and one of my last videos, I didn't do it on camera, but one of the last watches I was sizing, it was a used watch, and I was missing a pin and 2 collars, and so luckily I have spare parts, or else I wouldn't be able to wear that watch, or I'd have to go on eBay and search for pin and collars. And so here it is, all buttoned up. Let's get this bad boy on the wrist, and here's that JT I'm wearing. Perfect, like a glove. Stay tuned. I'm gonna take her outside, get some wrist shots out there in the sun, and then some up close and personal pictures out in the natural daylight where it looks a lot better. Stay tuned. Have a great day. God bless.